Okay, this is Garp again. Now, I gotta figure out a better way to deal with this camera, turning it on and off manually. I wish there was some kind of remote I could use. Maybe if someone knows more about this than I do, they could send in a suggestion. Other than that, I guess I can Google it. Anyway, I've got the setup now to cut this sheet of plywood, cabinet birch. And what I'm going to do is, well, I have my measurements won't interest you, but for the cabinet that I'm building, I have the dimensions set. I have this. Now, this is of course, this is one of those on-the-fly kind of things you do to try to accommodate the project. And I found this guide. There's probably various guides out there now being sold, but I found this one. I've had this one, good Lord, 12 or 15 years. Very handy, especially for on-site applications like this. And what it does basically allows me to have a nice straight edge clamp to my work surface, to my material and my work surface to stabilize it. And I can run this table saw, boy, I'm at a loss for words at this moment. I can run my portable circular saw along that edge and get a perfectly clean cut, as long as I am patient, keep the carriage up against this fence all the way through and don't try to rush it. I'm going to walk along the side of the plywood doing this, so I'm going to be reaching around and I'll be out of frame for a minute when I first start. But anyway, without getting into the detail of how you set it up, it does come with a couple of clamps. I found that on an 8-foot piece of material like this, it's useful, the clamps are useful only on one end. I have to, without getting into the total dynamics, I have to use a different clamp on the other end to hold it in place so it's not in the way of my circular saw as I run over it. Trying to get it past this part of the saw. Anyway, without further ado, I'm going to cut this piece. Now you see I have my dust mask. Once I put this on, you won't be able to hear. I'll sound like a frog or Darth Vader or something. But I'll make the cut and show you how it goes. Oh, I also put, long-winded Garp, I put blocking underneath so that as the piece cuts, it's going to fall away from the cut a little bit. It's going to drop off on this side. You don't want this thing hanging out in the air. This piece is going to be cut off, it goes flying down to the floor or the ground or whatever. It's just going to damage it. So it's very carefully set up. I have blocking underneath so it's not in the way of the saw blade. And it's designed to let the cut, once the cut is done, to allow the pieces to separate cleanly so that I don't damage anything. Okay. This is going to be quite a get-up, I'll show you, but here we go. Okay, I gotta put my glasses on now too, just to make sure I'm doing this right. Woohoo! I really should take this mask off at the moment because there's sawdust in the air, but I would normally keep it on. But you see how the piece fell away from the blocking? And that is a clean cut. That blade that I put in the saw is extremely sharp. It's a Japanese thin curved blade. It's got a very thin teeth on it, so it cuts through nice and clean. And this uppercut, even though I'm going with the grain, it would normally be a fairly clean cut, is almost splinter-free. I can't see a single splinter on it. The downside is going to be even better. Well, it can't be even better, right, by definition. Anyway, I'm happy with that. What I'll do now, you may ask, why didn't he run this through a table saw? If I had that giant setup that I did years ago in my woodworking shop, I would. You know, it was all set up with tables all around so you could feed the material right in. But just by the nature of this project and the accommodations I have to make to the setup, this is the way I had to do it. Limited space, limited use of my big equipment, and my portable equipment. Theoretically I could run a 8-foot sheet through. I don't have the extended fence for it. I kind of make jigs up. It's very cumbersome, and this tends to be more accurate. Once I get the pieces down to this is actually about a 23-inch piece, because I'm making a custom cabinet. It's a little deeper for up by the ceiling. I could actually start running certain widths and dimensions through my portable equipment, my table saw, to do production work. But even this is too wide. I mean, I put a portable fence up, a temporary fence, and do it. But sometimes it's just easier to go with what you have. It might take a little bit more for the setup, but you end up with accuracy either way. Nothing to be embarrassed about. The bottom line is how the project comes out. It might take a little bit longer, but you know what? If you were to buy a cabinet like what I'm making for my upstairs kitchen, I'm actually making the entire cabinet system. I've already made some of them. I'll show you later. It's going to cost thousands of dollars. This piece of material, like I said, is maybe 30 bucks. I'll put this cabinet together. All said, for all the materials for this upper cabinet I'm building, it's almost 8 feet long, 2 feet deep, face frame and all. I'll probably put it together for $50 in materials. Maybe 60. Let's say 60. And of course I have to do the finishing on it and stuff. So most of it's going to be labor. That same cabinet, if I went into the market to try to buy it, might cost me, I wouldn't be able to buy it. It's not a stock cabinet. I would have to have it custom made. It might cost me $1,200, $1,500. So you be the judge. Not trying to tell everybody to go out there and become a cabinet maker. I'm just saying that it's possible to do it. And I'm going to show you the steps on how to do it. You have to judge your own capabilities and your own desire and your own motivation. Once you start something like this, you don't want to stop halfway through and say, "Oh, can you finish it for me, Mr. Carpenter," or Garpenter. Oh, Garpenter, by the way, gay Carpenter, get it? Well, like I said, moment of inspiration or moment of stupidity, I don't know. We shall see. Okay, I don't want this one to go on as long as the last one, so I'm going to sign off. Anybody has a suggestion about a remote, let me know, because now I'm going to go over and fiddle with this camera, which is balanced up on the ladder. Try not to knock it off, and I got to turn the doggone thing off. Okay, see ya.